This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining. So I guess I want to start with Brady. Can you introduce yourself and what brings you here?
Yeah. My name is Brady Shorey. I am here as a participant of support, I suppose you could say here, as a diagnosed with RMC back April 2020, and started chemo in May. I guess I was done with chemo or kind of in limbo for the last 3 months and or 2 months, and that's me.
Do you have anything questions you want to talk about today? We can come back to you if you have anything.
I'm really just, I mean, maybe some questions that I'll have further on down, but I'd love to hear more of other people's stories and what brings other people in today.
Yeah, sounds good. Michael, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Michael. My partner, Kwanzaa, was diagnosed with RMC November. Um, Actually had surgery first in December, and started her chemo right a couple weeks after that. Um, and has one chemo left. That was supposed to be happening like a week or two ago at this point, but some nerve pain kicked in. And so they're holding off that last chemo, potentially not doing it. I'm not sure. I might be making that up. Oh, duh, it's tomorrow. Never mind. Maybe not the best nurse, Richie. Not logistically, anyways. Uh, so yeah, her last chemo is tomorrow. This is the teacher brain sinking in. And then potentially, or maybe probably not potentially. I think it's on the schedule. Doing some immunotherapy as she recovers from the chemo. So I'm really excited to have the summer off to be witness to the recovery.
Is there anything you want to talk about, Michael, or any questions you have?
Um, yeah, I mean, I would appreciate a little bit of like if anybody you know has experience with what is coming off of chemo look like what does that uh how does that look like, what is there anything we should expect with that, especially with her potentially doing immunotherapy. I think I'd really appreciate that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll circle back to that.
Okay.
Jelana, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Chalana Wheeler. I'm a caregiver. My son Caleb, he was diagnosed with RMC in December of 2018. He did well, really well with chemo. He got off chemo in December, went into remission a couple of months after receiving chemo, and he did 2 years on chemo, and he recently relapsed. And we're back on chemo now. So, yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that, Jelana. We've been praying for you.
Thank you.
Jelana, is there anything you want to talk about today, or any questions you have?
I had some questions about autoimmune therapy, and other than that, no. I want to talk about maybe some. I want to hear about other chemo options, other chemotherapies other people are on now. Other than that, no, I don't have any other questions.
Okay, yes, we'll definitely come back to that. Andre, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hey, good evening. My name is Andre Sneed. I was diagnosed with RMC in April 2019. I did chemo, immunotherapy, radiation for about a year and a half. And in October 2020, um, my scans was clear. So, and I just had a scan mid-April, so everything's still looking good. Everything's still on track.
Andre, is there anything you want to talk or any questions you have today?
I don't have any questions today.
And Lori, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Lori, and I'm here with Michael and Kwanzaa. And we've been following, we're supporting Kwanzaa on her journey that started last fall.
And do you have any questions or any topics you want to talk about today, Lori?
No, I don't think so. Not any more than Michael might have.
Okay, sounds good. Alexa, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Alexa. I'm so glad Lori is here because my connection to RMC is through my dear friend Carlos, Chris's husband. And I am so thrilled that, we know where he is. He's with the Lord. And we've been celebrating his life lately. My only question tonight is, or something I want to ruminate on, is what is Brady going to put on the grill? That's my only question. So if Brady, if we could just eventually circle back to if you have any ideas, what you want to delegate sides to, we just all need laughs sometimes,
Yeah. Oh, that looks. Brady, where are you in that? Like, what state are you in now?
In Virginia.
Oh, okay. Oh, my brother's my brother moved to Virginia.
What part?
He was like in Lynchburg before. I think he moved.
That's where I am.
Oh, really? Oh no, that's crazy. Yeah, he was very close to Liberty University.
Yeah.
So he has like some friends over there, but he moved like 2 hours north, I think, for a job.
Okay. Yeah. That's cool.
I'm gonna make house calls so I can eat everywhere. I really will need to exercise.
Rishi, do you want to introduce yourself?
Okay. My name is Richie. My son Chris Johnson is the reason that we started the foundation. Chris was diagnosed in 2011 with renal medullary carcinoma, and he passed away 15 months later. And at that time, there was not any advocacy for RMC, very little for even kidney cancer. So this is what Chris wanted to do. He wanted to create awareness for RMC, and he really wanted to start this foundation. So he became tired and was not able to do so. So as his mother, I fulfilled his dream or vision and started the Chris Johnson Foundation in April of 2013. So here we are, and I'm just so happy to be a part of each one of your lives. I said it gives me peace to be able to help others because I know how hard it was on the journey with Chris. You have church family, and friends, but it's nothing like someone that has actually gone through this journey that can really share with you. So anyway, that's what it's all about, and I'm just so happy. We're small, but we're global, and I thank everyone for participating each month. And I'm here for you if you need anything.
And Richie, is there any topics that you want to talk about today?
Oh no, something may come up. I have a few announcements, but that's about it.
Okay. Make sure we come back to announcements. Okay. And just to introduce myself, my name is Carissa Moran. My husband, Carlos, he was diagnosed with RMC in 2016, like 6 months after we got married. He passed away last year in April 2020. he went through like several different treatments, like some chemos and like some immunotherapies, a little bit of radiation. So definitely talk about like just the different treatments he went through. And here to help, like happy to help and support you guys here too, because yes, this journey is really, really difficult. I'm so happy that we have this group like to talk and support each other. All right. Well, Michael, I guess let's start with go back to your question just about going off of chemo. So I like with my husband Carlos' experience, it was pretty nice coming like off of chemo. He like his hair grew back, which is a plus. I know like to like just like the nausea went away, like the vomiting. He had when he did immunotherapy wasn't as harsh. I know he was like still pretty tired from the immunotherapy, but that was like the biggest side effect on there. Let's say hi April. How are you doing?
I'm fine. Hello, everyone.
Hi, April.
I apologize. I'm born.
Breaking up. April, you still there?
I think she's frozen.
April, you're on mute. Hey. If you press like the button on the bottom, April. Okay, she's en route to Denver. Okay. Thanks. Well, happy you're here to join us. I also see Christina is on the line. Hi, Christina.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well tonight.
So right now we're just talking about just coming off of chemo and what's that like? Like Andre, like you've had some experience with that as well. Like, do you want to talk about your experience?
Yeah, I can talk about it. So like I said before, I came off chemo October 2020. Hair growing back, growing it out a little bit here. So couple things I dealt with is neuropathy. So the chemo one of the residual effects from the chemo is kind of neuropathy, and like what I experienced, neuropathy in the hands and the feet. So my doctor prescribed me some gabapentin to kind of help with that. The nausea and stuff like that kind of subsided. With the immunotherapy, I didn't really have any issues with the immunotherapy. It's not as harsh on your body as the chemo. And I've been doing CT scans every 3 months just to, make sure everything is still clear. So yeah, I think I'm doing pretty well. Just had a clear scan, so yeah, that's it.
If you don't mind me cutting in a little bit, Andre, can you say a little bit about like what the neuropathy journey was like? Because Kwanza's there too. She has some gabapentin that we've been on for at least a week. I think 2 weeks at this point. And so could you talk a little bit about like what that part of it was like?
So yeah, so in my situation, it was more so in my hands than in my feet. Like the last chemo drug I was on was really really kind of strenuous, and that was really one of the side effects of the carboplatin and the paclitaxel. So yeah, but the further I got removed from being on that chemo, the better the neuropathy got or whatever. So now I think I'm doing much better than what I was doing before. So I think the further she gets away from the chemo drug and stuff in our body, the better those nerves will get, and plus the gabapentin and stuff like that, I think will help as well.
May I ask, Andre, what did you do to build up your muscles and your your body after you've been through all this? Because you look like you're doing really well from a health standpoint, but I have to say, after being on all that chemo, I suspect you didn't look quite as great as you look today.
No, I definitely didn't. So I started out by walking and stuff like that, trying to build some of that endurance and stuff up. I was in the military. Well, actually, I'm still in the military, but pre-chemo, so I was in pretty good shape going into the process or whatever. But I started out just like me and my mom would go like walking in the parks and stuff like that, and trying to build up some endurance and drinking plenty of water, and trying to eat healthier um and stuff like that. And then I kind of graduated from walking to actually I kind of got like I built kind of like a home gym, so I got like a treadmill in there now, and elliptical and stuff like that. I try not to do. I can't run like I used to, but I try to not do anything like hard impact or whatever. So it's really mostly low impact type exercises to kind of help build and strengthen up some of those muscles.
Michael, what are the things have they either prescribed to her, or what are you doing to help her with that right now
So for helping her build up some strength,
with the neuropathy?
well, yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
the neuropathy, they have her on gabapentin,
hmm
and that's been effective. We actually unfortunately missed two doses yesterday because we kind of just like
hmm
knocked out at night. Uh, and it's like, okay, not doing that again, because it's definitely helping. Um,
hmm
and so yeah, she has the gabapentin for nerve pain. Um, they also have her on some fentanyl patches that they're gonna start
hmm
decreasing since the gabapentin's working. But besides that, nothing for the neuropathy. As far as to Lori's question, helping her get like her strength back, they do have her doing PT now, to help again with the pain in her hip. That's where her neuropathy is, and then also just like getting her balance back and her strength back up.
hmm
And then we have a dog, so that'll probably be like the main exercise course when she's up to it, getting back out walking with us. And then yeah, sort of I really appreciate what Andre said, and just like reminding me like, okay, it'll be a process. Like we'll slowly build up.
Right.
But yeah, that's what
So
they have for neuropathy.
So there's a couple of things you can be doing as a caregiver to help as well. If there's any type of extremity with the hands or feet, sometimes just some warm water will help with that. Massages can help with that. And there's also a product that I used. It's a natural product, and it's not any medication, so there's no interactions if you're not allergic to it. I'll put in the chat. That's really helpful for neuropathy to help massage and rub in, and that can really help her out a lot with that type of pain.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
I did want to add something else. I did go get some acupuncture as well, like after my chemo. The only issue I had with that was like my insurance didn't cover the acupuncture sessions or whatever. So, I was kind of paying out of pocket. So I don't, know what her insurance and stuff was like. But yeah, the acupuncture, and I try to get a massage at least once a month too. That help. So yeah.
I know Carlos did the acupuncture and the massages, and that helped a lot. Like was like him like definitely like gave some relief. Right. Does anybody else have any comments on like just going off of chemo and like what that experience was like?
I know Chris also did the same thing that Andre was talking about. We did have physical therapy and acupuncture, and then his was basically in his feet, and I would soak his feet. I mean, twice a day, so he was spoiled, and and rub them. He was spoiled, and if I was not right on time, I heard about it. So it does help though, but yeah, that's the best thing. And then he would also walk too.
Richie, I have a question because I feel like number one, you're everybody's mom in general, and then the level goes up with RMC. But since we know how difficult it is to come off of chemo or any type of drug like that, what is encouragement like that people can walk away with Richie in our heads between support groups? I'm curious about that. Like, what's the encouragement we can hear in our heads?
I think the main thing is staying positive. You have to live each day to the fullest and not think about, actually what you're going through, but persevere and go, look toward the future and how you can, improve your life. And the worst thing that I think anybody can do is just have that little pity party. Um, I know with Chris, unless he wanted to talk about what he was going through, he didn't. And he and his friends would tend to talk about the good old times in school and laugh a lot. I mean, they would laugh a lot. And that's just the main thing. I think positivity, staying faithful, you know, and believing, and just not lose hope, you know. I think those are the main thing. Positivity is the key, and learn as much as you can and helping others, like what Andre is doing. He's going through it, but he's still helping others with encouraging words. And they see this picture of health. And I'm going to tell you guys, Andre has never looked sick. Okay. I have never seen him look bad. He has been a picture of health throughout this entire thing, and he has remained positive the entire time that I've had interaction with him. I'm sorry, Andre, you're not sick.
It's okay. No, that is very important though. Staying positive and keep moving forward. I mean, things gonna gradually get better. Um, the further you get away from the chemo and yeah, just take it day by day. You might have to start walking. I know eventually I'm gonna get back to running and stuff like that. So yeah, just staying positive and take it day by day, and things gonna gradually get better health wise, and you get your strength and stuff back. So yeah, staying positive is very important.
And I think one other thing too, Alexa, you can't compare yourself to anyone else. The treatment affect people differently. So the best thing for you to do is say, I know I can. It's like that little engine what is that little thing, the little engine that could or something, so don't, just because somebody is having a bad time or whatever, don't let that discourage you because the medication does work differently on everyone. So it's just staying prayed up and positive, the main thing. Don't give in to this beast. It's not worth it. He's not worth it.
Yeah, I think that was important. Like, yeah, just staying positive. I know Carlos, like throughout his treatments, he was he was very positive. And we're still able, like we went do a lot of things, like we did vacations. went to like several weddings. Even like, getting to dance, um, seeing what what your capabilities are, and things that help make you feel good. Also think too, it's important not to isolate yourself as well, and keep in touch with others, because that's very encouraging. And I know Carlos, we had family come visit, friends, and that was just very encouraging for his friends to be there, and kind of give him that extra oomph. Hi, Lois.
Hi,
How are you?
how are you? Do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, nice to see you all.
Nice to see you. Lois, is there anything you want to talk about today?
Right, okay, I've been out for a while because we were in hospital last time, so I missed the group meeting. Now we are at home. I don't know if there's some update that I can share with you for Fenina. We had the nephrectomy on the 8th of February. She's been okay ever since. She expected to have clear scans though, because it was the end of the first year of chemo last March. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. The situation now is, the findings are restricted to the left and right breast and in the lung area. Not more expanded than it was. The only new finding was at the time of the nephrectomy, a little time after, some days after the nephrectomy, that was shown on the CT scan, some problem in the left breast as well, which got a bit worse last month. But now it has started being better there. We started a new regimen because she was really tired with the previous chemo. The scheme was quite heavy, although she endured that quite well. She was really tired because we had to stay in the hospital quite a lot. I mean, we had to fix all these, the impact of the chemo on her blood counts, so transfusion with platelets and blood. And although she didn't stay in hospital for a long time, just only for the chemo days, we had to be on and off in the hospital just to fix the blood count, and that was very tiring. And that was since last August, and she got really tired psychologically, disappointed as well. I mean, for some weeks she didn't want to do anything. She thought, that's it, I don't want to continue with that. She even told me once, let me die, I don't want any more chemo, it's too heavy on me. I'm far away from friends, I'm far away from home, just staying here in the guest house in Thessaloniki. She started seeing things without meaning. Anyway, we had the PET scan. That was the last examination of all. The things judged by the doctors were not disappointing at all for them. So what Mr. Mzaul suggested was some alternative to the previous regimen. So we are on a daily pill, erlotinib, if you know, And every 15 days, we'll be going to the hospital for a couple of hours and have another medicine, Avastin. And hopefully it will work. Some studies proved that it worked for patients. She liked that alternative, and her whole psychology changed ever since. We started the pill about 10 days ago, and next Wednesday will be the second time of going to hospital to take Avastin through the port. Her left breast feels better, a lot softer. It's not obvious because about a month ago, the left breast was quite bigger than the other. I mean, the problem was obvious. Now it's better. And they told us that the pill might be the most important from the two medications. And in about a month, maybe less, we'll have another scan to see that it shows improvement. And if that's the case, we'll continue on that regimen. Because that will give her more free time outside hospital, outside the guest house, and it doesn't come so heavy on her blood status. Maybe the white cells drop a bit, and we fix that with an injection for the white cells. But platelets and hemoglobin are pretty well right now, and they told us it won't be that much affected by this regimen. I don't know, it's quite hard for her, basically, just struggling with that. She doesn't feel any pain. That's the good thing. Doesn't have any, I mean, if you don't know that she's struggling with something, if you just see her, you won't think that she suffers from something. Physically, she's very good. Actually, she's asking of going back to some exercise because she missed training a lot. And I asked Professor Mzawel if she can do that, and he was very encouraging. So I'll arrange something with her trainers to go back to some form of exercise, little by little in the beginning, because she's been out for a year now. And I think she will, that will be very good for her, because she was like breathing when she was in the stadium. So she'll do that. Summer's coming here in Greece, so I guess these breaks will heal somehow her psychology, at least. And hopefully the regimen will work, and maybe next time I'll have some news to share concern this regimen. We'll see. That's all for now. I don't know if you want to ask me anything. But that's the thing. I don't know if that is common with most RMC patients. Most of the time, she's okay. Actually, she's very well, especially if she has some company, some teenager. Due to COVID, this is very restricted. But occasionally now we have her cousin, Maria's. Richie knows Maria, Maria's daughter. They're first cousins. My husband's sister's daughter, and she's been here for a week, and she's totally different person. I mean, she has someone to talk to. There is, of course, another girl that she she communicates. She has a problem with leukemia, that girl, and they are on the online classes together. So one supports the other, and so in her case, I think communication is apart from the disease, let's say, communication with teenagers is a major problem for her. Sometimes disease comes, let's say, second for her priorities, sometimes, because most of the time she feels okay. And that takes me back to the question, is this the same for most patients?
Lois, my mother took erlotinib for 5 years, and I would say that the only real side effect she had was, well, she ended up a little bit of sort of an acne or some type of a skin problem that was controlled with a skin cream, and she ended up, I think either with a dry nose or an itchy nose. There was a lot of blowing her nose. That was the only real side effect, and she had very good quality of life while she was on erlotinib. So I could imagine that would be the case.
So, but after at some point, chemos stop working, let's say. Right. Okay. So, yeah.
Usually what they'll try and do with erlotinib is they'll try and shrink the tumors down to the place where you can actually do something about them specifically, like radiation. So it's a good way for getting things to shrink if they are EFGR sensitive.
Yeah. At the moment, in our case, it's here and there. So I don't think probably that's why they don't suggest radiation right now. Because maybe they want it to be just at one place in order to have radiation. That's what I thought, and what they tell us. For example, if it's a bit in the left breast, in the right, or in the lung as well, maybe it's more difficult to control it by radiation, right? It should be some very very specific spot.
Well, they'll want it to be a tumor or a near solid tumor if they can get at it, as opposed to scattered or cloudy or what have you.
But I think RMC tends to do these scattered things, because originally when Fenina was hospitalized, they were very surprised at the picture of the whole thing. That was very rare for them, and that thing was maybe obvious only in adults. I mean, this kind of scattering. Anyway, of course, she's a lot better than last year. I mean, there's no comparison to the point where Fenina was last year, last April, last March, when the whole thing started. Anyway, we are worried, very worried actually, although she feels okay, and we'll see how it goes. I don't know what to say. Yeah, I mean, it's draining at times to just to wait what this cell will do, what its plans are. It's it's.
I would like to, Lois, don't mean to cut you off, but I wanted to just have April speak a little bit if she can hear us, to share what her journey is about.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm on a train, so it may go in and out. The Corey had his right kidney removed last month on April 1st, and the lymph nodes beside it, it said they contain 95% of the cancer. So he is healing amazing. Absolutely no complaints at all. Still hard headed. He won't listen to everything I tell him to do. He really doesn't complain much at all. No complaints at all. We're still hoping for the best. No complaint, hoping for the best.
Does he have any pain right now?
Does he have any what?
Pain. Is
He
he in
still
any?
complains of left shoulder pain. And it's just weird to me. So I don't know if it was the positioning from the surgery, but actual like the flank pain, he no longer has the flank pain. I think sometimes he complains about the bones. He aches in his bones. And his girlfriend gives him plenty of foot massages, so I don't know. But other than that, me being the mom, I do think that sometimes he tries not to share that much with me. But I feel much better at this point than I did when he was diagnosed last year.
With April, I know like Carlos had like bone pain. What like helped him was like taking the Claritin. 'Cause I know like after he had like Neulasta shots, and those shots like caused the bone pain, but the Claritin like helped. Like it was a completely turnaround with taking like the Claritin to help with the bone pain.
I know they said something about antihistamines before the chemo should help. Corey has a hard head. Even when he had a temperature the other day, I gave him one Tylenol, and I came back to check the temperature, and I gave him another one. Before I left the room, I turned around and I said, Corey, put it in your mouth. Take the Tylenol. So it's like he has a really hard head, and I'm an adult, and so yeah, I'll have to force him to take that pill.
Just have to love him. Give him a little space.
I think sometimes I overdo it. I over mama. I'm always, did you drink some water? Did you take your medication today? Did you take your iron pill? So yeah, I think sometimes I over mama, and I don't know how to not do that.
And that's natural.
Yeah, I feel like I was the same way too. So you're not alone on that, April. Jelana.
It's just our natural thing, and yeah, I'm not gonna stop.
I know Jelana has gone through some things. I don't know if she would like to share. Jelana, you still with us?
Yes. Yeah, Caleb, he was diagnosed in December of 2018. He did really well with chemo. He thrived off chemo. He took off on the carboplatin, the gemcitabine, and paclitaxel. Dr. Turner recommend he have 2 years of treatment. I think he went into remission about 6 months after being diagnosed. He had several tumors in his lungs and lymph nodes, and of course his kidney, his right kidney, and he went into remission and he did really, really well. And like I said, he did really well for 2 years, and they stopped chemo in December of and so he was supposed to have scans every 3 months, routine scans, and April 15th was his routine scan, and we found out on last month, April 15th, that he had relapsed. I was so shocked because Caleb did 2 full years on chemo, and he did really, really well with chemo. And it seems like after we stopped chemo in December, he just relapsed. Like I said, I was just stunned. I just couldn't believe what they told me. I had a really hard time. It was really, really rough. his lungs were, we found out that his lungs were filling up with fluid, and which was causing him to have chest pain. And so they couldn't really get a good image of his lungs because they were filled with fluid. So Dr. Tanera recommended they put drains in his lungs, both lungs, and to remove the fluid. And so they did. And each lung, I think they removed maybe a liter of fluid. So all of that happened really, really fast. He was in the hospital for maybe a week or two. They also found spots on his brain, which is rare. I don't know of any patients with RMC that had spots on their brain. I saw one story of a guy named Kyle. He had spots on his brain and he passed away. But other than that, I haven't heard of any stories. His oncologist told me of one child they treated, and that child cancer, he did really well like Caleb. And after a year of being in remission, the child cancer came back in his spine and his brain. So other than those two patients, and I heard it was really, really rare for RMC to go to the brain. So I didn't expect, him to just that to happen. So they told me they found maybe like 20 spots, 20 pinpoint spots on his brain. I was just so outdone. So we started chemo. They recommended Caleb go back on the carboplatin, the gemcitabine, and paclitaxel because he did really well on those chemos. And so he started chemo right away. He has to get fluid drained off his lungs because the cancer, his lymph nodes, his oncologist said that his lymph nodes are swollen. He has swollen lymph nodes, and I think they're producing the fluid, and they're on both sides of his heart. So every couple of days I have to drain fluid off his lungs. I don't really get much, but they do fill up with fluid. So he has to get drains, and they're get drained, and it's very, very painful for him. But other than that, he is doing well. He is a fighter, and he is trying his best, and he's doing well. So we'll have more scans, I think, next month to see if the chemo is still working, and see and go from there.
Jelana, does it seem like the fluid is decreasing each time or about the same?
It's about the same.
Okay.
It's about the same.
May I say something about that, Jalana? Because I remember Felina when she started the whole adventure. We started with fluid in the lung area, actually in both lungs. And what they did, because as you said, it started, I don't know, the body or the disease produced again and again. They had, I don't know, it's called Bilau, two, let's say, draining devices. And once there was the operation to get the port, they installed these two. And it was for about 1.5 months. when she had these devices, and with chemo, of course. And at some point, it stopped producing as the whole situation got better in the lung area, because the problem was in the right lung area, but there was liquid in the left as well, just liquid without any findings in the left lung. And after 1.5 months, they removed these devices. And I remember 1 month after we finished with these bilaus, with these devices, she started producing again, and then we had to drain it from the back. Jalana, do they do that from the back of Caleb?
No. Actually, they
How
test tubes
how
in
do they
him.
drain?
I have to drain the fluid off his lungs.
Really? How do you do that?
So they have I have these little bottles, and every 3 days I have to drain the fluid off his lungs, and it's very, very, very painful for him.
God.
He's doing really well. It's not, I don't get a lot of fluids, but I get quite a bit. It's still a kind of a lot, but not a lot. It's a pretty big bottle that I'm draining from. So he doesn't fill up the whole bottle. He doesn't even fill up half of the bottle. So, but to me, it's still like a lot of fluid. It's to have on your lungs. So.
Well, is the pain from the pressure when you're draining, or what? Or is it from the tubes itself?
He said that when he knows when I need to stop. And so like when he is having when I connect the drain to these bottles, he doesn't really feel it up until when it's time to stop. It's like pressure, like a lot of pressure, and like very painful for him. I'm hoping that we get rid of that fast. They also found blood clots, and so he has blood clots, and so he's on blood thinner. He's on Lovenox, and I have to inject him twice a day. So he has to get the tube strain, the blood clot, the blood thinner medication. He's dealing with a lot, and they're trying to balance the chemo knocks down his platelet count, blood count. So they're trying to balance the blood thinner medication and the platelets. So we have to go to the hospital maybe 2 times a week, and so that's a lot. Yeah, we just have a lot going on right now. I'm
Jalana,
hoping.
I want to just say, Advocate Alexa wants to ask a very important question. How is Jalana taking care of Jalana right now?
Wow, I'm trying my best. Just to stay positive. It's really hard. It was just so shocking to me when I found out he relapsed that soon. I always knew that, it could be a possibility, always in the back of my mind. And for it to happen so soon was just so shocking to me.
Yeah.
He was only off of chemo for 3 months.
Right.
We on 3-month break. It was just
right.
I got a question, Jelana. Did they try to target those, some of those lymph nodes with like radiation, or was that not an option?
Well, I asked about the spots on his brain. They told me that they are so small, like they're pin marks. They told me that they don't even would need radiation for those. They told me that they are not sure whether that's something new or something old. They said that
Okay.
because in the beginning of him being diagnosed with RMC, they did a head to pelvic exam and they did a CT and the CT didn't detect anything. They didn't do a MRI. This time they did a MRI of head and pelvic and head through pelvic, and they found these specks on his brain. So they told me they don't know if that's old or new. I was just in
Okay,
shock.
because in my situation, I did very well with the carboplatin and paclitaxel as well.
Hmm.
But I dealt with the lymph nodes near, especially where I got my right kidney removed, was like they were like very stubborn and very resistant or whatever. So I ended up doing the carboplatin and the paclitaxel in conjunction with that targeted radiation to target those specific lymph nodes. So they kind of threw everything at it to make sure that those lymph nodes wasn't still spreading, or metastasizing to different places or whatever. So that was um, that was an option for me, and I think that went that went very well. I haven't had any issues since that.
I asked if he can get radiation for those swollen lymph nodes, and they told me that because they were so close to the heart and they were very small, that they felt like they didn't want to do that right now because they're, like I said, they're close to the heart, and I guess they're gonna try to shrink those with chemo. And right now, we're just praying that his old chemo regimen works. Because he did so well, Dr. Tanner recommended that he go back on the carboplatin and the gemcitabine and the paclitaxel. Um, I'm hoping that and praying that his body responds well to those drugs again.
Well, Jelana, I want to say, I've known you for several months now, and you're such a valued member of this group. And I hear in your voice an exhaustion I don't think I've heard before, and just a stress and overwhelm. And I want to acknowledge that. This is very shocking. This is very, very difficult. And you're the primary caregiver. And I want to reiterate to take care of yourself, whatever you need to do. I did post, ANCAN has a wonderful support for caregivers as well. And if there's anything specific, like with Joyce that's getting the burger for her, if there's anything specific we can do to help you or Caleb, please just let us know. We want to help you through this, and we're here to help you through this. So I just want to say, if you need to go to a caregiver support group or anything like that, just be taking care of yourself, because I hear the pain and exhaustion. And this, when someone gets diagnosed with RMC, it's not just the patient, it's everybody in that family. It's the friends, it's the caregiver, it's the loved one. And I just, my heart is going out to you in my prayers. We're gonna lift you up.
Thank you.
I also want to add, Jelana, Alexa put our caregiver group in the chat window. I mean, it's really a wonderful group. The ladies are just fantastic. It meets first and third Tuesdays, but just a heads up that the second meeting of the month also welcomes bereaved caregivers and discusses bereavement issues. And for some caregivers, that's difficult. For others, it doesn't bother them. The first meeting of the month does not. So you can attend any meeting, and we'd love to see you in that meeting. And the next meeting is the Tuesday, the 18th, at 5 o'clock. It's actually not in this room, it's in our other room. But all you caregivers are very, very, very welcome to come. Carissa has been to several of the meetings, as has Alexa. Do you want to say something about the meetings, Carissa?
Yeah, I think it's just very helpful. Like I know too, well, I was just very thankful too because like we last month was Carlos's year like anniversary. So everybody was helping brainstorm on like kind of what to do because like that year mark and that was just very like we did like a kind of a like remembrance thing for Carlos and shared memories, and I thought that just really helped me a lot, and I was just like really thankful because like to have that, and I also think like too just the camaraderie, like it's just like there's different aspects, people like different like caregivers, different ages, different groups, and I would just say like it just got in like we talk like there's a lot of different topics, and it's nice to be focused like on the caregivers and kind of focus like on the emotional side because that's really tough.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say that the group did brainstorm with Carissa, and we came up with this idea that we could create a virtual remembrance party for Carlos, and we lent Carissa the room, and I happened to I didn't drop in on it, but I saw it had happened, so I watched the recording, and it was really amazing. I mean, I feel like I know Carlos from that meeting. It was just beautiful. And that's really what this caregivers group is about. And Jelana, if you don't feel good, I mean, not just Jelana, it's for Jelana, it's for Michael, it's for Laurie, it's for Lois. I mean, all you people that are in here for April, all you people that are in here, this caregivers group is really, really good, whether the person you're caring for is with us or if they're not with us. We have a meeting for you, and the ladies are great.
They're phenomenal. Susan and Wendy and just everybody. They're phenomenal. So it's definitely a safe place.
Yeah, it's not a recorded group either, by the way. This is recorded, but that group is not recorded, and it's a very, very safe space. I will say one thing about that, Carlos. I would recommend everybody writes to Carissa and asks if they can watch that session, because it was just great. And that Carissa, she looks like her dad. That's what I learned on there. She sure looks like her dad.
Yeah, I don't see it, but I get that.
Oh yeah, you have the same expressions. I was watching him,
She does.
What do you say, Richie? Is it
She
true?
does. She looks a lot like her dad. hmm It was really, really nice. I was so happy I was able to join in. We laughed, we cried.
Yeah.
It just brought comfort, Really, really great idea.
Yeah. It was great.
Rick,
So,
you missed, I'm sorry, you missed Brady. I think he's cooking for the children, but he is a fitness trainer.
all right.
And we were thinking maybe we would ask you for a room one day so that we can get a few little exercises in.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, just work it out with Alexa, and of course,
Okay.
it's a separate time. Absolutely. And we're so in favor of promoting exercise. So of course we do that. Yeah, with the greatest of pleasure, we do that. So.
I just wanted to make one announcement. Diane had asked me to share with everyone that Nicholas' scans were clear. They had the reading on the 28th, and that they will do 4 more cycles of chemotherapy, the same one that he's been getting. However, now he and his dad have COVID-19. And she just asked if we keep them in prayer. And I'm not too sure. I have a funny feeling Diana's not feeling well now, so I'm thinking she may have it as well. But Laura does not. That's her daughter. She doesn't have it as of yet. So I just want to share that with the group.
Well, thank you.
Mhm.
Lois, what's it like in Greece in terms of getting the vaccine?
I think they are moving on, more and more people. I'm gonna do that on the 18th of May with my husband. We have arranged a meeting. It's the time that our age group is for that, because I don't know about other countries, but here they, apart from the doctors and nurses and people working in health area, all the other people were called according to age groups to be vaccinated, and we'll do that. There are people who resist vaccination, but now more and more people are persuaded to do that. We have arranged to do Moderna, me and my husband, on the 18th of May, and the second dose on 15th of June. So in the
So I got
summer we'll be fully vaccinated now that
I got
tourism is starting in Greece. And
I got Moderna.
up to now, there are affected people in Greece. Maybe the situation is not as hard as it used to be a month ago, but they say we need to look how things will go around 20th of May, because Easter holidays were a month ago. So they have to see the impact of these gatherings on the
Right.
population.
So I got
Um,
Moderna. I got Moderna, and it looks like Michael had the Moderna too. I will tell you that the first vaccine, I had a sore arm, but it was really a nothing. And I felt
right.
pretty crummy after the second vaccine, starting the next morning and most of the day. But by the 2 days after, I was fine.
Right.
So
Sorry, did you have fever as well?
I didn't have fever, but I felt really tired, and I slept for about 2 or 3 hours in the afternoon, and I
Right,
had a dull headache.
right.
I had a dull headache starting the day of the evening of
Mm,
the vaccine. So I
right.
could see April shaking her head, and so don't be surprised if you feel a little
Yeah,
crump
okay. Yeah,
after the
yeah.
second.
I've read that there are some minor side effects, let's say, or symptoms. My
But
parents,
I came out like a champ. I had
Oh,
Pfizer times 2. All I had was a little old sore arm.
right,
Come on, you
that's,
guys.
that's good.
That
I was
Moderna is different. It took me down
Yeah,
on day 2.
really. It took my son
Like,
down too.
yeah. And I have
Yeah,
to go back this weekend and get the second one.
yeah,
oh,
it took my.
really? Yeah.
But have you
Right.
guys heard anything about if you've had COVID that the vaccine you tend to have more symptoms from the vaccine versus if you hadn't had COVID? Has anybody heard anything about that?
I hadn't heard
I
that,
don't know.
but I would be a counterexample. I had COVID end of May last year, For about a week. It was like the worst chest pain of my life. It was like it's crazy. This is a mild case. And it's the worst pain of my life. But yeah, I don't know if maybe it's been like maybe it's like how long after you've had it. Maybe if you still have the antibodies. Since mine was almost a year, I probably didn't have any antibodies left for it to boost side effects or anything like that. But yeah, I had COVID a while ago, and I've had the same side effects as Rick.
I had the Moderna so far, just the first shot. Like I'm taking my second shot the first week in June, but I just had the sore arm.
And they are encouraging people that have compromised conditions to get the vaccine. Just FYI.
Yeah, that actually just reminded me. Kwanzaa also got hers. She had Pfizer though, and pretty much the same thing. Little arm soreness, really tired the second day, third day back to normal.
Can I ask you real quick about Kwanzaa? Did she play any sports?
No. She also just corrected me. She had a sore throat as well.
Okay.
That was it for her side effects. But no, she doesn't play any sports.
Richie, are you talking about the connection with RMC and sports?
Yes.
Unless you count championship reading, yes. As Lori said in the chat.
That's a brain sport. That's exercising your brain. So.
Was it? What was the name of it?
Oh, Lori made a joke in the chat that she's a championship reader.
Oh.
Closest sport.
I believe that too.
Christina, is there anything that you wanted to talk about? Anything on your mind? You're still on mute if you're talking.
I think she's gone, Clarissa.
Oh, okay.
I think she's gone and we lost Brady.
Brady, okay. Yeah, I still see an icon on her, so fine.
Oh, really? I don't. That's weird.
Yeah, it says she's now offline. So
okay.
There's icons still there, but it says offline.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that.
Okay.
And we know Brady had to eat. So he had to eat that delicious food.
Hey guys, you're making me hungry. Listen,
Yeah,
I'm gonna jump off and jump over to the MS group, but it's lovely as always to see all of you. I know we need we are moving closer to the end of June when we're going to do this advocacy group, this advocacy webinar for rare diseases. And we want some of the people from RMC to play a part in that. And Alexa's on top of it. Thank God for Alexa. Oh my gosh. I don't know where I'd be if I didn't have Alexa. I don't know where Ankam would be if we didn't have Alexa. So she's keeping us all ticking over. But yes, we will we'll be in touch with a couple of you about playing a major role in that presentation at the end of June. So yeah, and of course, just reach out to me, anybody, if you need anything, and we'll see you. I'll see you next month. You guys can stay here as long as you like, but I have to go. Goodbye. Oh, and I mentioned to Michael offline. I have become a convert to essential oils, otherwise known as voodoo medicine, which is what my friend Jennifer's husband calls it. At the same time, he uses it all the time. We never go on we go on these crazy bike rides, these mountain bike rides. I invariably finish up with a boo-boo, some cut or something. Jennifer pulls out her essential oils. But a couple of things I've learned about essential oils. The first is they really have to be a very high quality. And so you must be assured that you're getting a good quality oil. And the second thing I wanted to mention about essential oils is that if you are at all interested, my friend Jennifer, who is actually a women's health nurse practitioner, you can, she's happy to talk to any of you, and she'll usually send out samples. And I'm actually talking to her right now about neuropathy. This bottle is a neuropathy mix, and I forgot that I actually had it. So that's there is a neuropathy mix. I don't know what's in it, but it smells to me like there's pine in it, and there's probably frankincense and myrrh. Alexa, Robert Giles is in the wrong room. He needs to be in the Barniscus room. So
Okay, then let me
when
get
he
the
comes
link.
on, will you tell him?
Yes,
He
I'll
was in our
tell
prostate
him.
cancer group earlier on. So he can't
Oh,
put
okay.
in the right room, but
That's
he
okay.
belongs in the MS group. Okay, goodbye.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.
How about
Bye.
you?
Bye.
So we have about, what, 4 minutes? Does anyone have anything else they would like to talk about before we leave?
Okay.
Hang on one second. Hi,
Ah,
Robert. This is the RMC room. I know you're looking for MS. I'm going to give you the link in the chat, okay? Right here. And there's a bunch of people waiting to see you. Okay, you can go ahead, Lois.
all right. I was thinking, or maybe we can discuss that next time. What about any supplements to RMC patients to boost their immune system while being on chemo? Generally, the doctors are not encouraging. I mean, uh, for both my children, I followed some homeopathy advice until last year. I mean, until this happened to Fenina. And I noticed that
Can't hear you, Lois.
of course, she didn't have the need. Okay, she was very healthy child, but occasionally I used some homeopathy, let's say for boosting the immune system during winter, things like that. And as her body was clear of medicines, maybe that helped her a lot, along with exercise, to endure all this chemo treatment. Um, but my homeopathy doctor told me that she could take something, some supplements, now that she's on chemo to boost her immune system. But the doctors are not willing to accept that. They don't want anything to intervene with the let's say with the effect, let's say, of chemo. And they find all these supplements quite, let's say, benign. I mean, or that they won't do anything. Whatever chemo does is quite strong, and the way that it affects blood or any other parts of the body cannot be, let's say, I mean, chemo will do whatever it is meant to do. And it's better not to interfere with anything. I don't know what your opinion is on that. And
Richie,
maybe
I'm
we can.
curious if you could ask Dr. Masal about this.
I could tell.
I asked him about a specific supplement that this homeopathy doctor told me, and actually it was supposed to be imported from Germany, I don't remember the company, but it's BioBran. It's made uh, of the um, of the peel of the brown rice, uh, plus some kind of mushroom, and it's actually the powder in the form of powder. And she said that it goes straight to the T cells and boosts the immune system, especially to people who are under chemo. And I sent a message to Professor Mzawen, but that's what he told me. It's definitely not worth the cost. And on the other hand, it's quite benign. He didn't say don't use it or that it's not worth the cost of it, because uh, I had calculated that I would need something like 300 euros a month to cover the daily needs of of Fenina for this supplement. But actually, what the doctors say here, that they don't want any other substances interfering with the effect of chemo. That's actually what they say. And I would like to
Lois?
ask if you have any, let's say, experience of giving your loved ones some extra things apart from nutrition. I mean, fruits and vegetables and, a healthy diet. If you did anything, or maybe it's about to leave now, but we can sort of think about it, and we can say a few things about that next time.
Well, I think Lori wanted to say something, Lois.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, my dog has decided now's the time to start barking. I think at 300 euros, that's a really high cost. And 2 sessions ago, I think, and Richie can point it out to us, somebody left us with an article about hot tumors and cold tumors. And it was a really, sorry. It was a really interesting article on the immune reactions of different tumors to responses to different types of treatment, and why they have to prep some types of tumors before they respond to certain types of medications. And I think if you had a copy of that article, it would help you to understand that perhaps this form of cancer is really an unusual form of cancer, and probably wouldn't respond to something that costs 300 euros a month. And if it did, of course, we would all be using it.
I could
Let me
send
say
it.
that.
I could send it
Yeah.
to Lois. And I know
Yeah.
Chris was
Actually,
getting chemo.
this.
Go ahead. No, I was just going to say, even when Chris was
Pardon,
getting
I didn't
chemo,
hear.
I asked about the herbals, and they said no because it would decrease the effectiveness of the chemotherapy.
I do also want to say real quick, we had a webinar here at ANCAN about immunotherapy and cold and hot tumors, and it was one of the top immunologists in the world, Dr. Fong, and it was prostate cancer specific, but his presentation explained immunotherapy and hot and cold tumors were discussed. I'm going to put it in the chat. It is worth watching. It's very informative and worth watching, even if you don't have prostate cancer.
Okay, thank you. Right.
Hey, anybody have anything else? Go ahead. I'm sorry, Clarissa.
I'm gonna ask it like the same thing if anybody else had anything else to say.
I had one thing. So I no longer have to have CT scans every 3 months. Now it's every 4 months. I just wanted to put that out there. So, hopefully go to 6, then hopefully I can just do it once a year. So that's all.
Next month, Clarissa, you've done a great job. I appreciate you
Right.
volunteering to do it at the last minute. And I think Andre is next month.
I can do it next month.
Are you there?
June the 8th.
June the 8th is our next one. All
I can do
right,
it next month.
great. Okay, thank you, Andre. We had to get Jelana on task, but we know she has her hands full right now. So just keep little Caleb lifted in prayer and try to stay in contact with Jelana. And, you know, she needs that support right now. Okay, thank you, everybody. You done, Clarissa?
Yeah.